Hey, Sam, what's your schedule look like tomorrow morning? I forgot to email you guys.
Um, After I get the guys going, I'm pretty much wide open after about 8:30.
Okay. I was just thinking if we could discuss that letter about that biathlon kind of thing. That
Yeah,
might be
kind of funny. Your concerns were exactly the same ones I had.
good.
They're, it's just what we ran into at the last rate. The boats coming out of Middlebury, and then how do you get from there to the trail? Is
Yeah.
really the big ones.
And just the last couple of years with everything that's dropped into the river, that could be a feat in and of itself.
That, and I don't know if we still own that parcel, the Kuntz's. Down
The boat ramp.
yeah.
Yeah, we would have to change a little bit of how we access it, but we do own, if
We,
you will, south
yes.
the whole thing. Um, the nice part is the majority of it's actually in the right of way. It's just that small sliver. So we're still working on that as well.
I know. It's been a process.
If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, right?
Exactly.
Well, I think everybody's here and we know Neil will be late.
Yeah, sorry about that, gang. I, for some reason, had it in my head it was still 5:30. I've been sitting here plowing through my the volume of papers.
Okay. So I don't know, Debbie, you're the vice chair. I don't know if you want to call it to order, and then we did discuss maybe holding off voting.
Yeah, I saw that note from the last minute, so that's fine. We can call the meeting to order, and we'll hold off the voting and structure for the next coming year for the board until Neil can join us. Although I did have the thought that we could also just railroad and make him the chair.
That's what we said.
Is that not an official vote? Okay.
All right, you guys have probably already done roll call because I was late coming to the party, but Karen, have you noted the attendance?
Got it.
Did this start at 5:15 or 5:30?
Well, that was my problem. I thought it was 5:30 and then I got on and everybody was here and I went back real quick and I said, oh, shoot.
I tried to log in at 5:15 and then it said the meeting didn't start till 5:30. So I went away.
I've learned that I need to give myself a little window
That's fair.
to get everybody in. So on one screen, it's 5:30, that's official time. And then my next screen, I give myself a little time.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's perfectly fine. We're all improving in our Zoom skills, including my favorite were those who always had it so that you're looking up their nose. That's my favorite. All right, then. Well, let's proceed. Did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes from December 17th meeting? Do we have a motion to approve? If everybody's okay with those?
Yep, move approval. Debbie.
All right, we have Steve move. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second.
All right. Good job.
Catherine, I beat you. Sorry.
You can get the next one because we've got one coming up. All right, so we have a motion to approve the minutes from December 17th and a second. Any further discussion on those? Any corrections? Okay, all in favor? Wave, say aye, whatever is convenient. Okay, the motion passes. Minutes from January 5th were also included. Can entertain a motion to approve those as well.
I motion.
All right, Jake. Kathleen, you want in on this one?
Yeah, I'll second that.
And Jake makes the motion. Kathleen seconds. Any questions or corrections? None being heard. Everybody in favor, say aye or wave your hand at us. Either way. Looks like we're good. All right, let me flip back now to, sorry, I'm rustling a notebook on top of a not big enough desk space. Okay, we do not have any personal appearances that I am aware of. We have quite a bit of correspondence, incoming correspondence.
The first three, I just had to get on the record. We covered them in December.
Right. I remember we talked about these. So they are there now for your information and knowledge going forward. Orlando donate. What about the Susan and Doug donation?
That's this month.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Say that again.
They're new. The
They're new.
donations are new.
Okay. So, yeah, because that one's not in here. Can, or is it? Or did I miss it?
4, 5, and 6 are the donations that we received,
Mhm.
and they should be in there.
Okay. Yep, I
They're
got it now.
memos for Melanie,
Yep, got it.
sending them on to council and
I see it now, yeah. I was looking at the wrong space. Okay. Anybody have any comments, questions, anything about those? Otherwise, they're noted and we can move on.
The only thing I would like to note is that it was approved by council last night to accept those donations,
Okay,
along
good.
with one other donation from the Kent Lions Club of $100.
Okay, great. And the donation from Kent Lions is for what purpose?
It did not say, but I'm assuming that it's to go to the general parks for general use. I will try and get that back from them. I did have a question on these. Do we send out thank you notes? And if so, should I go ahead and put that together?
I've already got 2 of them sent out. I don't,
Perfect.
in the past, haven't sent any out to the foundation, but I think
Foundations,
we
right.
should. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured Karen was all over it. She usually is.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, and then number 7, we do have Tim Wonderly's letter to the board. That's just for an FYI, be aware that it did come. We received it. We've all had a chance to review that. Okay. All right, and then we have the quarterly parks report. And if I'm reading this correctly, this is, Melanie, this is what we received from these various developers. This is the matching funds for their contributions. Is that correct? The quarterly parks report?
I believe that that would be, yeah, funds that are received from these developers. I'm assuming that
That's what
those are the, if you will, park fees.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it looked like, but, okay.
Yeah, nothing in October or November.
Okay. Okay. All right, staff reports. Let's talk about monthly revenue. Does anyone have any questions about the revenue or expenditures that we received? Any commentary from staff, that anything that we need to know in specifically about any of these? Man, we got to slow this down or we're going to be done before our missing board member.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't think we've ever done a motion to accept those reports, so let's just keep moving on. All right, parks, you're up, Sam.
Under
Wait,
the,
expenditures. Hold on, Sam.
Oh, sorry.
Expenditures is next.
No, I thought I did both of them. I kind of wrapped them into both revenue and expenditures. Did
Okay.
anybody have any questions or comments?
No questions. Got it.
Yep.
All right. Go ahead, Sam.
we got what we can safely get covered, the graffiti under the Haymaker Bridge there where the trail cuts through.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been working with Caitlin, who works for me. She works for the art school for Kent. She's she's talked to a couple of people. I'm trying to get somebody to come do artwork and not,
Mm-hmm.
what they're normally writing up there. And she says she has a couple of people interested. I told them to give me a call. and want to work with them to put something up there, and maybe they'll get the
Mhm.
not to, we'll cover up anything that's inappropriate as usual, but just trying to get it cleaned up and make it look a little bit better. But I'll
Mhm.
keep you appraised. Caitlin said she has a couple of people interested, and I'm going to talk to them about it. And,
Oh, that'd be great.
it's better than what it was. There's still some up there we just can't safely reach, and I'm not going to put anybody in harm's way to try and cover it.
Right. And you said Caitlin's from the Kent State Art Department?
Yes. Yep. She's getting her master's, and I forget exactly what it is, but she's been working for me for, I think, 5 years now.
Wow.
Sounds right.
hmm Yeah, have other communities found that helps, Sam? When they put something pretty up, then it cuts down on that?
Yes. And well, the Haymaker Farmers Market's a great example. You put something, they seem to leave it alone.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm kind of hoping that will happen. But if you go in and cover up basically what I would call the inappropriate stuff on a regular basis, and they start seeing the artwork, maybe they'll get the picture and be like, all right,
Yeah.
let's put something decent up. But I'm hoping we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, and other than the big snows in December, you guys haven't had too much to deal with, right?
Oh, we're getting a bunch of bonus work done that we normally never get done this time of year. Stuff that we can't get done in the winter time. Or in the summertime, I should say.
Right. That's good. Where were the lights that you replaced, Sam?
We're doing them in the shop right now, but worked with Seifer in the shelter house parking lot. Those are high pressure sodiums. As each one of those fails now, he's kind of showing us how to rewire the ballast so we could put an LED light in. And I think it's $96 for a bulb. Basically changing the lights over to LEDs as each one fails. And we're going to try along the trail too. As soon as it gets a little bit nicer out, we're going to go down because we have a bunch of lights on the south side of the bridge that are out along the boardwalk there. We're going to try and switch them over. We did years ago, but the old LED cob lights, if they got wet, they went out. These new ones are waterproof. So we're going to try. If I can fix those for less than $100 versus $300 to $400, I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I like John Seifer. I was sorry his brother retired because I used to use him all the time on real estate stuff.
John's getting closer to retirement age. He's picking and chooses in his projects now. And this one's easy because we help him do it.
Yeah. Okay, the truck is coming.
I hope.
Yeah. All right, anything else noteworthy?
Nothing exciting.
Okay. All right, Nancy, let's hear about the rec department.
Sorry, I'd unmute that. My
Gotcha.
dogs are barking in the background.
I've got grandkids screaming, so it's all good.
So when I did this, the youth basketball, we were going to offer, I think the next day after I put this in there, or that same afternoon after I sent this out, we are not going to be able to run it because I lost Stanton. One day they told me I could use the facility, and then 3 days later they told me I couldn't use it. So, I mean, I called Purchase, I called St. Pat's, I called Kent State, Stanton, and no facilities are letting us in. So that one is scratched. So that is not happening. But what we're going to do with the basketball is we are going to run a much larger summer basketball league. So that, because, we didn't run the Portage Youth Basketball League either. So we're going to go ahead and do a big outdoor basketball league in the summer.
Well,
and invite all of our Portage Youth leagues, and see what we can do, because now that we have the Al East Court and the Plum Creek, we should be able to accommodate many more teams on that. So that's what we're kind of shooting for that. Baseball and softball registrations are open. We're going to move forward with that. We're doing all the planning. Stop it. For the upcoming season, we're going to move forward with soccer, anything we can do outdoors,
Yeah.
and in hopes that we can also get like, you know, we had volleyball, but you know, again, we don't know when the facilities are going to be available.
Yeah, gym time. Now, is the basketball league going to work around or before or after baseball and softball? How
It's
will
probably
that?
gonna have to be simultaneously, and so what we'll try to do is like, just like I ran that outdoor basketball league in July and August.
Mhm.
What we'll do with this one, and we would run them on Sundays.
Right.
So
Oh, okay.
as soon as soccer's done, we'll run those leagues on Sundays. And most of the time it won't conflict with baseball unless somebody has a tournament, or softball, unless somebody has a tournament on the weekend.
Mhm.
Nancy, with the closing, and I have no idea, I would just ask this question. When would sign up close for baseball and softball this year?
The deadline, Karen, do you have the registration form in front of you? I don't have it.
Is it the 18th or?
She's got the deadline. I don't have the form.
Hey Nancy, while she's looking, those gym closures, are those COVID related?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
it's all COVID related. And Kent State, they are not going to open up for the rest of this school year. And we are now, I'm still waiting to get some feedback, because we run the new program that we started, not this past summer, but the summer before, which was the Junior X-Med program. We coordinated everything with the Kent State Rec Center and used their staff and their facilities for a lot of those programs. So I'm waiting to hear back regarding that, because we don't know what our plans are to move forward with that program. If we're not able to do that, we're going to try and come up with some creative way to continue the Junior X-Med program this summer. And that program, Steve, is for, that was for
4th through 8th.
4th through 8th grade, Megan? 4th
Yeah.
through 8th grade. So, and we did a lot of outdoor adventure type of activities
Sure.
and themes. We are still going to be contacting the Cuyahoga Valley National Park to see if we would go out there every Friday and do a field trip with the kids. So we still want to do that program because it's an outdoor camp. We just don't know how much Kent State's going to be involved in that. So we are waiting on that. To hear back feedback from that.
Baseball and softball deadline's February 5th.
Okay. I had a parent that asked if that was any way we could push that back a little bit. Is there a penalty if they do not sign up by that point?
There's a $10 penalty.
Okay. Just with the timings of, you know, the COVID and whatnot.
I mean, we can extend it another
Okay.
week.
I'm not sure. I have no idea. I was just asking a question. So
Yeah, and I can update that and I can send an email blast out or do whatever needs to be done. So if you know, if there's a lot of pushback on that, or if they, you know, maybe we can just do it in our office and not charge them the $10 late fee.
okay.
So we can
They
wait
can-
another week.
Yeah, they could just give us a down payment and give us a little bit every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know much about that topic.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked. And Karen, on the website, it tells when these seasons run, correct? When games begin, when practices begin, all that jazz.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple of people in the neighborhood ask, gee, are we going to get some of these programs this year? And so I know everybody's been missing them big time.
Yeah, and we are, and you know, we had a planning meeting today with the staff and trying to project on, you know, some of the upcoming things, and we have to make some decisions. I mean, you know, the adult egg hunt. I mean, we don't know. I mean, you know, we can put all this planning in and we can collect all these sponsorships and we can start doing all the registrations, and then all of a sudden it's canceled. You know, we can modify it a little bit. Maybe we don't take so many. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about, like in the next week, as far as like what's going to happen with those events, because those are big events. a little
Yeah.
bit worried about that. I mean, that's a lot of people in the park at once. I mean, can we don't know. One day we do all the planning and then we have to cancel it. And, it's a lot of commitment to a lot of people.
Yeah.
When we collect all those sponsors, it's a lot of money and, and then we don't run it, then do we have to return everything? It's just, that one's a tough one right there. So we're going to kind of brainstorm on that one.
Yeah, kudos to you and your staff for being so flexible last year. My gosh. I
Yeah,
don't
it was
know
a
how it
lot.
worked. Yeah.
We got a lot in for what was closed because a lot of places around closed down.
Right.
And we were able to push through, and believe me, it was not easy dealing with the COVID, and trying to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hey, Nancy,
So
can you just give me a rundown on what Junior Expert involves?
Junior Exped is a branch of, so 2 years ago, the Exped program at the high school that Craig Foreman runs, he does it for the 9th through 12th graders.
Yeah, both my kids went through that.
Right. And so what I wanted to do was offer something not as extensive. We changed our Plum Creek camp around, and we wanted to focus on more of the middle school age kids and get them prepared if they wanted to go into the Exped program. So I sat down with Chris Lucas from Kent State Rec Center. He's the one that does the outdoor adventure center, and Craig Foreman, and I said, why don't we offer an Exped program, a junior Exped program, touch upon, we run it from like 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, and we have different themes every week. And anybody that participates in these weeks, they have to attend at least 3 to go on to the last week. They get to do an overnight camping trip at the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. So every week they got to go up to Kent State to go swimming. They did, they learned how to kayak in the pool. They did those boat, what do they call them? The boats in the water. They made the
Paddle boards?
no, not the paddle boards, but they did paddle boarding as well. But
Like canoes or?
no, they're not the canoes, but they're those like cardboard boats. Oh gosh. Anyways, I have all the themes. I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me as soon as we're done. Anyway, so they learned how to they learned how to set up tents. They they went outside the rec center and did some activities out there. So the Kent State staff had to do those activities when we went up to Kent State. So it was a lot of outdoor adventure type of things.
All right, thanks. That's pretty comprehensive. There's a lot
It was
in that.
great. It was awesome.
It sounds like a good program.
Yeah, I was so happy when we started that because, we've said over the years, and more things that we do that feel like feeder programs into the schools, the better we can maintain relationships there. So
Craig Foreman really was, he was excited, and he was able to get a lot of his, the kids that graduated to help. Hold on. I don't have 2 dogs here.
Helping out.
I have 2
That was a great program.
dogs. I have my daughter's, oh my gosh.
don't worry about it. One of what I've heard this as a recurring theme for people this year. One of the positive things about so many Zoom meetings is seeing everybody's kids and pets and enjoying when they insert themselves into the mix. So yeah, don't worry.
Oh my gosh. So that's what that consists of. And then you'll be, and I can even send you, Steve, like what we did 2 years ago. You can see the whole summer activities. Hold them.
Right, there you go. They just don't know how to play nicely.
Yeah. So you can actually see what everything that we did. Your mute's on, Steve.
Sorry, yeah, I was just saying, yes, I'd be interested.
Yeah.
Just out of
absolutely.
interest, thank you.
And then the other thing I have is the program fees, and that's attached. And that does need approval by everybody, or by the board.
Yeah.
What I did was, we didn't get normally what we've done in the past is do an increase based on what we, for our cost of living increase.
Mhm.
And we didn't get one this year. So, but however, we've also lost a lot of revenue this past year because of all the programs. So what I did was I increased pretty much everything by $1
Okay.
to help offset some things.
Mhm.
So from 2019's fees. So that's what everything was set up as.
Mhm. I think that's pretty good, Nance, really.
Is that fair?
Mhm.
So.
Well, and if nothing else, people have really learned the value of these programs and things when they couldn't have them,
Right.
So.
Yeah, so I didn't, and I know everybody's struggling and I really didn't, it was hard to sit there and think, well, we've lost a lot. Yes, we have. And I don't want to increase, to make it so that they can't do the programs,
Right.
But again, we do have the scholarship program so that if somebody has a medical card, they only have to pay $30 instead of, 50 or 60 or
Right.
whatever, $100. So we do help them that way. And we also set up payment plans for people that can't pay everything at once.
Yeah. And I do think $1 is palatable. It may not be noticed by very many people. Yeah. Sorry, I'm flipping back over to my agenda. Okay, well, thanks. Does anybody have any other questions for Nancy?
We have to do an approval on that.
Oh, that's right. I apologize. Yep.
Sorry.
Okay,
You-
no, you're right. Yeah, can we get a motion to approve the fee schedule as set out and proposed by Nancy and her group?
All motion.
All right, Jake. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we've got that. Any further discussion on that? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Madam Interim Director, take it away, Melanie.
Are you done, Nancy?
Oh, yeah. Megan, did you have anything?
Oh, sorry, Megan, I passed you right over. I apologize.
I just had the 2 trainings in addition to the before and after school program coming up. So we just finished the babysitters training. It looks like this might have got cut off here, but we're looking at possibly doing 1 class per month through May because it seemed like a popular class right now, which usually it's not. But I think a lot of families needed this right now with their kids being home alone. So we have a Twinsburg fireman come in and teach. We have 12 to 16-year-olds that attend this class. They get certified in CPR and first aid, and they just go over various things that could happen when they're home alone. We actually over-enrolled. We had 12 kids, and we have 3 more on the wait list for the next class. But I think what I'm going to do is just 1 in March and 1 in May. And then I have the child abuse prevention training coming up at the end of the month. Right now, it's just our current childcare staff enrolled in that, but we did contact the Child Care Resource Center in Stark. So they sent out our flyer to all of the childcare centers in Portage County. So hopefully our numbers will increase because of that email. And then my before and after school numbers, we gained 3 kids in January. I thought we'd get a couple more with the kids being able to go from remote to hybrid this semester. But they're kids that we haven't seen since March of last year when this happened. So that was awesome. And then we were open early on Friday the 8th to accommodate the afternoon kids because Kent City Schools did release that 1, and we don't charge anything extra for that. But that is the only early release day that's going to affect us this year because all the rest are on Mondays, and we aren't open on Mondays this year. So, and then in our planning meeting today, we talked about bringing back Kids Night Out. So that's something we'll hopefully start again in March and see if there's a need for that. Hope so. That's it.
I just admitted Neil. Neil's here now.
Hi, Neil.
And I think he's muted.
Nancy and Megan too, just in light of what recently happened over this past weekend, I commend you for giving these classes on babysitting training. But you may want to also touch base with both the police chief and the fire chief and just see if there's a segment on how to calmly call should there be a situation with 911. My understanding, I don't know the young lady, but she sounds like she did an exemplary job this past weekend working with both the police department, the dispatchers. But I think that's something that we all tend to forget, that, you know, when those kids are home alone, they don't know what to do sometimes. And so you don't want to focus on it for sure, but in light of that situation, again, I commend you for giving the classes because it's so important to give that training. I said when I brought my son home the first day, the most important job we ever do is to take care of another human being. And it's the only thing that doesn't come with instructions. So,
so true.
Yeah, I can contact the police department and see if they want.
They just may have some words of wisdom or, you know, just a 5-minute blurb that they can come in and share what the right things were to do and what they should do in those positions to hide or whatever those situations are. So. Awesome. So I'll go ahead and start with our Portage Bike and Hike Trail, our funding review and update. I know Kevin kind of briefed you guys in December on this. So what I wanted to do was kind of just put it in black and white and kind of let you know what that financial issue is, how we believe we've worked out a way that we can handle this, and let you know what will be coming in February. So quickly just going through it, the one positive is that the project, including the alternatives, came in under budget. So that was pretty exciting. The engineer's estimate was $1.266 million, and the project came in at 1.218 with the alternatives. So that's excellent. That's really exciting. But the one things that aren't figured in those numbers is our inspection fees. And then you always have a 10% for contingencies. And contingencies are just things that could, you know, when you're out there digging or putting things in, underground unknowns, you know, the river washes half of the path away and we have to create something new. That's kind of what your contingencies go for. Right now, I've spoke with the engineers. Sam is so integral on this. I give a shout out to him for working with our engineers. Him and Rhonda have had an opportunity to look at trees to save and those kinds of things. So he'll be a key figure as we move forward with this. But unfortunately, as I noted, when you add those in, the total budget then is $1.46 million, and we have only allocated $1 million in the park funds. So that leaves us about 460,000 short. Jim and I had an opportunity to meet with the finance director and go over those things. Initially, way back when, even under John, Jim had been working with him, and we thought that we would be able in engineering to offer up the inspector portion of that. And unfortunately, our projects are out there now, and that inspector is on another project. We thought we could do it part-time, but because there's federal funding involved with this project, we need a full-time inspector on it for the auditing purposes. So therefore, we're out right now looking to get a firm to come in and do that. So we've agreed on the service side of that, a portion of our capital, so $120,000 of our capital, we're going to go ahead and make a part of this project. So that takes you from that 4.6 down to, what is that, 3.4 or 340,000 short then. But in doing that, what the finance director would like to do is have a memorandum of understanding or a contract with the park board with a payment plan. And I had attached to my memo on that, you know, just a draft that she had put together showing the total 460, the initial payment down of the 120 from our capital, and then the incremental payments after that. Now, keep in mind, we will word the contract and the memorandum of agreement that it will be adjusted at the completion of construction. So in other words, if we don't spend a dime of the contingencies, that automatically comes off. And so we'll only be asking for payment back of actually what is extended or expended on the project. So if lighting comes in, or we decide that we don't need as many lights or something else we don't need on the project and it changes it, that borrowing will be lower, but we'll initially start out with the full 460 and then amend it at the completion of construction. Does that make sense?
I believe so. Anybody else have any questions on that specific thing?
I'll be bringing that contract back in February. We were hoping to get it done for this meeting, but unfortunately, with it being the beginning of the year, we need to get stuff ramped up for February. Asking for our encumbrances to be brought forward. And as you guys know, those appropriations to have it reappropriated for the new year. So that kind of took place for both Jim in the engineering part with those large projects and finance for Rhonda. So we're really going to hit on that hard the 1st of February. So we should have that to you before the next meeting.
Great.
So I did have a chance. I reached out to Woody today, and he was actually going to call us tomorrow, but they did post the position for the Park and Recreation Director on January 6th on their site, as well as the National Recreation and Parks Association site for the states of Pennsylvania and Michigan. They also posted on Indeed Jobs website. Right now, he said they have slightly over 100 applications that they're kind of forging through to get those whittled down. They think that by the completion of that, we should have between 20 and 25 exceptional applications that we'll be able to take a look at. Applications close on February 1st. What he has asked if we could go ahead and schedule a meeting for the week of February 8th. Just so that we can narrow that list of 20 or 25 down to, that 3 to 5, 5 to 7 candidates. And then we can begin those phone interviews, Zoom interviews, and those kinds of things. So if everybody, I don't know if you have a calendar, if there's any day that week that right now will not work, but Wednesday the 10th will not work for Woody. So it would have to be the 8th, the 9th, the 11th, or the 12th. Does anybody have a preference?
And this would be what time of the day?
We could do it at 5:15, 5:30, 6 o'clock, whatever's convenient for the board.
And Neil, what does that do for you in your work schedule?
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock meeting will be good with me.
Would be better.
Today I just had some problems. Today I just had some problems with some call offs and stuff. It's the beginning of the semester, so it is what it is, kind of. But after that, after this week and next week, we'll be good to go.
Yeah, gotcha.
But anytime after 6 is best for me.
Okay. All right. Well, anyone else have any preferences on those days?
Can I throw out Thursday the 11th then? At 6 p.m. Okay. We'll go ahead and put that on the calendar then, Karen, and then that way we can go ahead and establish a Zoom meeting. He also forwarded late this afternoon, so I'll get that to Karen so she can forward it to you. But that sheet that he had talked about, being able to look at the applications when you get those, a scoring sheet, if you will. But I was excited, to hear that we're somewhere between 20 and 25 out of 100. So we've got some good interest in that. And so it'll be interesting to go to that next step.
Melanie, did he give indication of how long we should plan for this meeting?
He said if everybody does their homework before we get together, it should only be about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. Okay. And that's hard to do. I know everybody has a busy schedule, but if we have 20 applications we go through and we're going to do it that night, we'll be there forever. So if you guys could take an opportunity, even if it's just a quick blush and you can throw out 10, 15, 20% of those, it'll help us narrow it down. So,
okay.
So the more we're prepared, the shorter the meeting, or the more productive it will be to get us to that final number.
Absolutely. Okay.
So I received from Jen Barone a park and lieu fees for 211 Franklin Avenue. This is the Hasawi development, which is at the corner of Franklin and Erie Street. He's currently working with community development for that approval. It's basically a commercial building with 16 apartments above. And It's kind of a unique project. They're working with us in engineering as well. There'll be a bump out in the area on Erie, which will help kind of dress up that area, give a nice outdoor space should there be either a restaurant or some sort of a business that would go in there for outdoor seating. And it'll be an opportunity to kind of spruce up that area as well. And the fee, if you had an opportunity to look at it for the Sowie side right now, was $12,480, and I would recommend approval of that fee.
Okay.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, we do. I'll make that motion that we accept that.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Got that in, Karen?
Got it. Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
Thank you. And then the final item that I just wanted to review is 6 months ago, I believe it was back in June or July, council had approved a moratorium on the park in lieu fees on just the portion that the city provided. So according to the ordinances, the developer provided that $12,480 and the city was to match that $12,480. So there'd be a total of basically $25,000 coming to the park board. Back in June or July, I don't remember the exact date, there was a moratorium put on the half for the city. They were hiring an outside source in order to take a look at that language to make sure that it still met state mandates, that the amounts were either equitable and fair, or if they should be lowered or lessened. Some of this was kind of brought to the head just due to the financial situation that the city was in at the time. We were cutting our budgets by 20%, and we were nervous about these two large developments. I anticipate another in lieu fee coming in February for the parcel right next to this, also taking place on Franklin Avenue. So having said that, not everything was finalized yet with our law department or community development on this. So they asked council at our last meeting for another 6 months extension, and that was approved by council. So we'll be waiting another 6 months on that to see what the final verdict is that comes back, and or what kind of language may or may not be changed in the future. So as soon as we begin to see preliminaries on that, I'll certainly bring it to the park board to give you guys an opportunity to weigh in on what those costs are and how that does or doesn't affect the city side.
Yeah, that hurts to lose that, but I understand the argument at the time, and
I can say that at least where I came from, there was a fee initially when I started, because I did work on the planning and zoning side of it. By the time I had moved over to their service director position, those fees were being cut as it went through. And I'm not sure, I don't honestly remember, that was almost 20 years ago. But I think some of it was state mandates had changed, and so there weren't requirements for that anymore. So I'm not sure what will pan out from this. I have not had a chance to do an extensive review of what local communities do on this as well. I'm going to try and give some time to that just so that I have an idea, so that when I bring that information to you, if there's something that you guys want to put together for the city to consider, I'd be happy to do a little bit of that work as well too.
And help me out in case I'm not getting this quite right. One of the concerns that was voiced probably by Pete Orlando was that if the city is able to be relieved of that responsibility, would it open the door for developers to say, hey, why should we have to pay this, et cetera? Is there concern that there'll be pushback on that down the road? Gwen, you may have some info on that too.
I don't believe so, but I'll gather the information on that. What little I've been able to understand on this anyways, this is a part, and if I don't quote me on this, I believe it's a part of the Ohio Revised Code that requires the developer, when they're doing a subdivision, to provide these fees for park fees.
Okay.
So I don't think it can go away permanently. I think maybe how it's allocated or how you're figuring those numbers may need to be addressed. But I don't know where that will fall out. I don't think it can go away, and I don't think a developer can ask for relief of it. I think it's a part of that. I know that it's a part of your our codified ordinances at this point, so it would require council to change that. Remember, the other side of this is not under review right now as far as
Right.
giving the developer that option.
Right.
So I'm sure it's being looked at in process with it. I just know that things have changed for the municipal side of it.
Mhm.
Yeah, in conversations that I'd had with our law director, Hope Jones, about it, like kind of piggybacking on what Melanie said, it had to do with basically the equation that they came to the fees, which I'm not a lawyer, so I can't speak to all that, but Hope was aware of it. And of course, I would, strongly recommend that, the developers, that we maintain those fees. And I think the city feels that way too.
Mhm.
But I think Hope just has to relook at how you determine what the fees are, and that changed, so.
All right. Well, we will wait to hear back then on that, on the final.
Guess what, Neil?
Yes.
While you weren't here.
Oh.
Oh.
No, they decided to wait for you.
We were just going to railroad you and make you
Okay.
chair for the next year, but we decided to wait till you got here and had a fair chance.
So if I could, I did forward out, albeit late this afternoon, so I apologize on that. Chapter 165 of the codified ordinances, which is the Park and Recreation Board's portion of it, along with the charter section. So before you vote, you do have to vote 3 positions tonight. That's the chairman, the vice chairman, and a secretary position. All of those positions are a 2-year term. So whomever you vote into that, it would be for 2 years. I actually did go back through your meeting minutes, and the last time you voted was 2 years ago. So I would encourage anybody to give this a whirl, even if you haven't been here for a long time. The thing I love about this board, you guys are so easygoing. I've been before its board. I felt like I should be in ties and suits and, but you guys are just so forgiving. You're easygoing with how you do it. I think it's a great learning possibility for anybody that wants to, take a step at running a board, even in the future for other things. You're also involved, that none of you are really going to have an issue if you do take over in this position. But I would say don't shy away from it. If you are busy though, or too busy that you wouldn't be able to make the meetings, I would ask that you at least let your colleagues know that. The hopes are that you always have to have a quorum for a meeting. So that's a minimum of 3 since there are 5 of you. And usually it's a chairman and a vice chairman, but that's where then that secretary would be able to run the meeting. Although the codified ordinances does require that it takes a majority of you to be able to vote on something, where it has to be 100% in the positive if there's a smaller group. So just a couple things to think about. First of the year is always a good time to review those things. So I forwarded them just so that everybody can have an opportunity to reread them. So I'll leave that up to Debbie then to go ahead and run those elections.
I appreciate you sending those out, Melanie, because I'm not sure I ever was given these way back in the dark ages when I got on the board. So it's always nice to know what I was supposed to be doing. So.
And I apologize if all of you have gotten them in a park thing, but like I said, I like to even go back myself on an annual basis and reread what it is I'm supposed to do, because sometimes we lose sight of that when we get so involved with all the stuff that we have to do.
Right. Well, that being said, anyone be willing to volunteer to take the chair position? Really, it has to, as she said, it really does have to do with just running the business meeting, keeping track on the agenda. And I always liked, when I was chair a couple times ago, just like keeping one eye on the clock to make sure we're not dragging it out too long. And then and coordinating with the director ahead of time, in this case, the interim for a period, just to make sure that items are being handled and taken care of, and getting a little bit of background on it potentially. So it's, especially this board, if you haven't done chairing before, this is a good board to do it, because as Melanie said, it's not, high pressure and that kind of thing. So I'll just throw that out there. Anybody would like to volunteer? Newbies, don't be shy.
Crickets.
Crickets. I've already gone on record at our last meeting as saying I'm chair at the Portage Foundation, and between that and real estate, I really do not want to take the chair. I can fill in a back position if you want, but I would prefer not to be the chairperson. So what do we do? Draw what do you call
based
it?
on requirements for being there. I mean, I have some work obligations and things with the kids and stuff that kind of hampers me from wanting to be the chair, but I'd be willing to the vice chair if somebody was to step up.
There you go.
Well played, Neil.
Yeah, and Jake already said something to me earlier. He said, "Oh man, I've got sports coming up that
I
are
would love to
are
volunteer, but I'll miss a lot of meetings over the next month.
Yeah.
No.
Well done, guys. Yeah, well
I was
done.
gonna
Sorry,
say,
guys.
Steve, you've got lots of time on your hands, right?
You are killing me.
Ever tell you guys about my favorite professor in college?
Oh,
There we go. Heck of a guy.
Heck of a guy.
Jake Felito, how did you ever get through?
Probably some way like this way.
Yeah, it's like a silver tongue. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of jumping the
Looking
queue.
as coach in all of the history of Kent, right? As
Oh, that's probably unlikely, but
Well, we do have someone else who's staying very quiet. over
I've noticed that.
I was gonna say, like Neil said, I would totally vice chair or secretary, but I don't know if I would, if we really need it, I would do it. I'd take one for the team here, but I wouldn't be my first.
I hear that as volunteering.
Congratulations.
that sounds like an acceptance speech to me. So
Well, I'm seeing this shape up nicely. We have our our newest member take the chair, and Kathleen can be the third spot, and Neil, you can be the vice.
I second that motion.
Wait a minute. What just happened there?
third.
Is that Steve or Kathleen is the chair?
Steve
I'm
was gonna-
confused.
Well, I've railroaded and said Steve could be the chair and Kathleen could be the secretary, and Neil would be the backup at the vice chair. Steve, are you willing to do that?
I've chaired plenty of meetings, so yeah, I don't mind doing that.
I
I mean, I kind of feel as though I'm jumping a queue here.
You can tell it's a hotly contested position.
Yeah, I can tell that. Okay.
Listen, the good news is, you give me a call if you have any question on background material, but there's plenty of people that will be happy to help. Well, what we need is somebody to run the chair.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's no problem.
Perfect. All right. Do we have an all in favor of this slate of officers?
Who first and who seconded? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Did you get that, Karen?
Well,
I'm waiting on a first and a
I threw it out there as this was my
Okay.
suggestion, and Neil jumped on the second.
Okay.
And Neil was the third, or Jake, yeah, I don't know, one of those two.
And then Debbie, then Neil. Okay, got it.
Thanks, guys. I owe you one. Got a long memory, so.
All right, well, I think that concludes our, well, actually, I should hand it over, because, technically, then, Steve, you were going to have to run this first meeting, so you got off the hook there.
Well, I guess, thank you. I don't know. Is there any other business then? No? And that, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you. And all those in favor of adjournment? Nice to see you all. See you when?
Aye.
Next in
See you-
February, right?
Yeah, see you in February.
All right. Hey, before we go, I don't know who can tell me this. Do I need to communicate with Woody about that meeting so that he and I are not tripping over each other when we come to the meeting? Who's going to run that? Is he going to run it, or am I going to run it, or what?
I'll touch base with him again now that I have a date and a time. And I'm assuming that he'll send out an agenda then again, like he did before. And then you guys can work together as to who wants to, kind of run that meeting. Again, coming prepared as much as you can.
Right.
And I have to assume, because we'll be talking about personnel, it will be an executive session again.
Yeah. Melanie, feel free to give him my my phone number if it would help if he needs to talk over anything.
Okay.
Do you have that?
I believe I do. If not, I'll make sure I check with Karen.
All right. All right.
Thank you to our new officers for your willingness to step up to the plate.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.
You guys.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen, for hostessing.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Everybody, be
Bye.
safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Be
You
safe.
guys.
Bye-bye.